This one is dedicated to each and every one of you who appreciate a great glass of wine. You know what I mean?
It's Monday. Let's raise a glass to the beginning of another week. It's time to unscrew, uncork, or saber a bottle. And let's begin exploring the wine glass. In this episode, we're heading back to Missouri for another round of one-star winery reviews. And let's just say the hits keep on coming, from tree-free tasting rooms and questionable political rallies, or whatever that was, to overdressed salad, under-chickened pizzas, and the mysterious case of the selectively used fans. We're diving into the quirks and chaos that make these reviews absolute gold. Oh, and yes, we got scolded for using the S word. So buckle up, it's time to go for a wild sip. While you're listening, it would be greatly appreciated if you could take 1 minute to subscribe, rate, and review. It only takes a few seconds of your time, but means so much to the show. Also, please be sure to check that box for automatic downloads so that new episodes of Exploring the Wine Glass show up in your next up feed. The next best way to support Exploring the Wine Glass is to tell your friends. If you enjoy the podcast, your wine-loving friends will too. Follow me on all the socials, and finally, don't forget to head to the website exploringthewineglass.com to read the blog, sign up for the newsletter, and keep up on all happenings. Sláinte.
Every time. Give me the red wine.
Hey everybody, I'm Lori Budd, a UC Davis winemaking program, Spanish wine scholar, sommelier service, champagne and Côte d'Aron specialist, and a WSET Level 2 graduate. You can find Exploring the Wine Glass on all the socials, as well as your favorite podcast catchers. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to swipe, subscribe, rate, and review. Stay in the know about all things wine by visiting my website, exploringthewineglass.com. I promise I'll never tell you what to drink, but I'll always share what's in my glass.
That was no brandy.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to One Star Winery Reviews. Martha, how you doing today?
I'm good. I'm so glad it's a time. I was just going to say what day it was and everything, but this is evergreen.
So glad it's Friday, but it's not.
It's not. I'm just so glad to be here and be able to talk about it some more, because now I'm seeing it one-star reviews everywhere, right? I'm seeing things about it. People are talking about it. Earlier today, you had an experience.
Yes.
And we joked that you should leave that should go in the Yelp review, right? So it's so funny to be able to talk about it with you instead of having to explain the background of it to somebody else.
I think it's equivalent to, like, if you stub your toe, then you're constantly hitting your toe again, right? So we're talking about one-star reviews. They all start coming up and they're kind of funny. They're just it just doesn't really matter what category you're talking about. It's just funny what people think they can write.
Well, I shared something with you. I had some friends post something recently, and I laughed so hard because I thought, oh my gosh, this is a whole new aspect that we haven't even explored. So is it okay if I read this review?
Absolutely.
Okay, so this review is of a restaurant, not a winery, but it reveals some interesting aspects of the review culture. So this person gave 1 star and says, I'm giving 1 star because of the cheap management and customer service. I heard the food was very good, so I went to try. Me and the boyfriend got the calamari, spaghetti alla vongole, and gnocchi. All were very delicious.
Okay.
I was actually so impressed that when the manager came to ask us how everything tasted, I told her it was some of the best Italian food I've had. And I told her I'm going to post about it on Instagram, where I have over 11,000 followers.
Ooh.
And a lot of them are in the area. Now, I just wanted to tell you, at this point, doesn't it sound like a 5-star review? This person's ready to endorse it to their followers.
I'm ready to endorse it to all 11,000 people who follow me. Woohoo!
The best Italian food I've had. So
that's worthy of
11,000
1 star.
followers. Yeah, she seemed very happy about it. I was wrong. I thought that she would be grateful for the free advertising, but when the check came, there was literally no discount at all. I thought at least one of the entrees would be taken off, but they didn't even take off the calamari or even the drinks.
Oh,
I
how
won't go
dare
back
they?
there because of this, which is a shame because the food was very good. The manager needs to understand how to treat customers. That's a one-star
Or,
Yelp review for
or
the best
you
Italian
need to
food she's ever had.
understand, you need to understand that you have a place and a time, and that is not it. Like,
I mean, I just don't.
I,
I, I'm flabbergasted. And this, by the way, it looks like it's been making the rounds because it's from 2019. But
oh,
a
so
friend posted this wherever they found it, I don't know. And I thought, oh yeah, we've never even talked about the different motivations that someone might have for giving a negative review that isn't based on what their experience was.
experiencing. Right. Now, I will say that I have been very lucky, and I do consider it lucky. I have had restaurants reach out to me on social media and say, Lori, we would love if you would come in, and we would like to, give you and a plus one a meal on us in return for you posting on social media. Okay. That is very different than me going to a restaurant and thinking I'm all high and mighty and expecting something. Like, I just don't know where the mentality is in these people who just expect everything.
Well, yeah, and well, listen, let's talk about influencing and companies trying to get your endorsement. So I have a podcast, a comedy podcast in a very specific niche, which is menopause. It's really perimenopause, and the concept is all these things that no one told us about, right? So, and in the past couple of years, that's become a massive market to advertise to. People are coming up with products and all sorts of things, many of them of dubious quality and dubious value, right? Because now they see us as a desperate, um,
Grouping.
segment of the marketplace,
Right.
right? Looking for relief and confused and overwhelmed by all that stuff. And so, like, the equivalent would be because there have been some companies that I use their products and I contacted them to say, hey, I have this podcast and, you know, do you guys do this? Do you guys have affiliate arrangements? Do you have partnerships? Do you have someone who could come on my show? That kind of thing. And it would be like me deciding that since someone decided not to come on my show or told me they didn't want me to be, one of their affiliates, then going on and trashing a product that I used, right?
Right. Right.
I mean,
Absolutely.
the opposite has happened with the podcast. People have contacted me wanting to be featured in the show for products that then I said, sure, I'll try it, but I haven't talked about it. I don't want to
Right.
make money endorsing something because someone approached me. I only wanted to endorse the products I would have used and
Right.
do use for
Right.
free and
Because
would recommend for free.
you have your respect and your influence, not being influencer, just
Yeah.
influence on people. And if you're going to bash something or promote something, it's got to be how you really feel that product works for you.
Yeah.
And yeah, and that's why, I do, you know, I tell them if I'm going to a restaurant, or I actually have a winery in Lodi that reached out to me that wants me to come to their winery. And, you know, I tell them right up front, okay, thank you. I appreciate you offering this to me. Let's go ahead and schedule an appointment or a tasting or, a dinner time. Thank you very much. I will not guarantee what I write. I
Yeah.
will put pictures up. If it's a restaurant, I'll take pictures of the restaurant and I'll take pictures of the food and things like that. And my followers can tell if I'm if I'm in love with something, or if I'm just like, hey, this restaurant is out here, if you live in this vicinity, it's there. And, how I say things is a little different. Versus, if I go to a restaurant and I'm like, oh my God, this is the most incredible place ever. there's that. But I'm always upfront with these people that I'm not guaranteeing anything. Like, if you serve me a dish with a roach in it, I'm not doing anything. I'm not gonna bash you, but I'm not gonna do anything. So, but it's still different than she
Totally.
she just went wanting free stuff. Nobody offered it to her.
Well, and it was the,
And
and
it's
I
the
quote,
best food
the best
ever.
Italian food I've had.
Had. Yeah.
I mean, all very delicious.
Yeah. Amazing food. Amazing. It sounds like a 5-star review to me. And what it does show is what a little baby child.
Right.
You know,
And also, I mean, it's the commodification of what is supposed to be trustworthy, transparent,
parents.
honest reviews from other consumers.
Right.
Right? When this whole review culture started, this rating culture started, it was so that because we didn't trust restaurant reviewers, that we didn't trust these travel reviewers, we didn't trust these people because they might be getting paid.
Paid.
And
Right.
so we had these things like first it was Instagram and then Yelp and all these things checking in with Foursquare, all that stuff.
Four
Google
square.
reviews. Remember Foursquare?
Yeah.
Some young people might not remember Foursquare, but
Right.
all of those things were kind of a way to leverage the power of the internet and have us share with each other to help
Right.
each other out. And instead, this is like a shakedown.
Yes, I agree 100%. And
So anyway, I'm just
there's
curious how often that happens.
there is actually a law. Now, laws are only as valid as the people who are going to enforce it, but there is a law that says that if you are getting something in return for your review, that must be, stated right then and there. I guess, but with her, the problem is she didn't get it for free. Even though it was the best food ever, she's not going to go back because she didn't get a discount.
Well, and also she shared that detail with us, which is helpful, right? If I lived near this restaurant, I would go.
Yeah, thank you very much. I
And,
bet you
right?
I wouldn't have responded to her. I would have said,
Yeah.
thank you for
Yeah.
acknowledging the best.
So I just wonder how many people are savvier than that. And then when they're all salty when they leave, when they didn't get a free entree or even drinks or the calamari, that they just go and write a negative
Negative
review.
review. Yeah, yeah, and
Because there's probably no law saying that.
correct.
I mean, how would you even enforce
Follow
that?
that. Right, right. And I do think that, and I think that what we see doing these 1-star winery reviews these are people who had something happen and they instantaneously took out their phone and went, "Blah, blah, 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 blah," and I think that our culture also is just more apt to write something when you're angry than when it's wonderful. When you're wonderful, you're like, "Oh, yay." And you're not really thinking about helping them, right? It's just not in your brain. But if you're angry, right, you're going to do
Yeah.
everything you can to beat, bomb, and pop down.
Was I back from, oh, it was different trip to Mexico. So since we last did this, I went to Mexico again.
Yeah.
And uh I'm not someone who posts a lot of reviews. And I probably should because the only the negative ones are getting posted, right? And
Right.
I'm generally, first of all, I'm easy to please in a lot of ways. And if something happens, I've worked in the industry in lots of different industries, so I usually, oh, they're understaffed. I can identify what the situation is,
Right.
right? And not either blame it on the entire place or not blame it on the server or whatever. But I only tend to write reviews when I'm explicitly asked, when I had a good
Oh,
experience and I was explicitly asked by the merchant or someone involved with it. So I've written reviews for places I'm a regular, and Mexico reminds me because it makes a difference in Mexico, probably lots of places, but in Mexico that I am aware because I go there a lot, that it makes a difference if you name the people who've given you good service in your TripAdvisor reviews.
Yes.
And they're like little bonuses or points or something. It really helps them. So when I go to Mexico, it's particular if I am at a resort like I was this last time for part of my trip, and I note everyone's name during my experience, who's lovely, so that I can then later give a rating and mention the different people because I know it's going to make a difference. And I'm not doing that for the resort. I am doing that for the individuals who gave me great service. So anyway, I'm actually I'm thinking out loud. I think one of the reasons I don't do it in general is because so many places where I go, it's kind of faceless. It's an organization, not about an individual. I don't think if I talk about what a great server Mary was, that she's going to get a bonus in her check. And so I'm not as compelled to make the time to do it. I wonder if the flip side is that's why people are so quick to be on the attack too, because there's not that awareness of a person behind what you're critiquing. Anyway, I didn't mean to go so deep, but as I was recognizing my own patterns, I thought, yeah, I do it when it's going to make a difference, like a small business owner that I know. But yeah.
I leave reviews if I leave saying, wow, like, that was really, really good. And it could be the stupidest thing, like, bringing my husband to the truck to go get an oil change. The people just were super nice, and they came out and they were like showing me this is the new oil. So, the new oil is in there. Like that's just very nice customer service, and they tell you when they're taking it in and they tell you when it's going to be out. And by gosh, it happened at the correct time. I'm happy. So
I wonder if it's a personality thing, because you know what? I'm more compelled to do it when it's a 5-star.
Yeah.
I'm much less likely to write anything if it's not 5-star. If it's meets expectations or it doesn't go well, I'm just not the type who's going to post about it.
I'm not going to honestly waste my time for a 3-star or whatever. It's got to be a 5-star. And I think I have really only written 1 or 2 bad reviews. And that was because I know one was they called themselves a beer garden when we were on vacation, and we drove like 30 minutes to get to this beer garden, and it was 3 beers on tap, and they wouldn't let you taste anything.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
You're just trying to save other people the trip, and you had a long drive back. You had time.
But I did not
to
do
write
it all
while
in
you're
capitals.
Angry.
I did not do it all in capitals, and I stated facts. It wasn't, I feel they should have done this. I just said, beer garden to me means a large amount of taps. Yeah. And generally speaking, you get to taste something, 1 or 2 of them to make a decision. This place has 3 taps and would refuse to let me taste anything first. That was the review.
The facts, the facts, ma'am. So where are we going today?
Yes.
Beer garden sounds so refreshing in this weather.
Yes. So we are actually returning back to the very first AVA in the United States, Augusta, Missouri. Right. So we left off when we were on the 94, and we are just going to move just a few steps, literally just a few kind of yards back in the direction we came from last time. And we are going to go to Balducci Vineyards. And Balducci Vineyards is located at 6601 South Missouri, 94. And they have 4.5 stars with 239 reviews.
All right.
Okay. So they say gathering people together over fine wine and delicious food has been a passion in the Balducci family for generations. Your hosts invite you to raise a glass and share their table. Located just west of Augusta, Missouri, Balducci Vineyards open year-round, offers guests a wide variety of food, bocce ball, game on, I'm good with bocce ball, award-winning wines, and craft beers. making it a great week or weekend getaway. Live music runs weekends, April through November, and we have been proud to be voted favorite winery for 15 years.
This sounds more like the beer garden you thought you were driving 30 minutes for, with the
Exactly.
bocce and the live
Yeah.
music and the beers.
Right? How awesome is that? So now they have been voted the favorite winery for 15 years. So obviously people are going to hate it.
Well, no, obviously people like it, and we're going to find some interesting one-star reviews.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And so this is kind of funny because Daniel Hull, this was his review, feeding off of the best Italian food ever. Best pizza at any winery we've been to, and we've been to a lot. Great wine and friendly staff. Okay. Then he's like, update, dot, 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 dot. What is that, an ellipses? Update. The place was bought by someone who also purchased 3 other wineries in the area. They chopped down a very old tree, painted the place a hideous color, raised the tasting prices to $15 for 4 tiny pours. They basically ruined the ambiance of this place once had and turned it into an expensive, mediocre winery that we will no longer visit. I am truly saddened.
I mean, Dan, I feel like that is probably worthy of a one-star review update.
You know,
I mean, they bought 3 wineries in the area.
that's interesting. Isn't that a
Yeah.
monopoly? Why would
No,
you
I
want
mean,
3
I
wineries
don't
in
know
the
what
same area?
regulations.
Yeah.
I don't know what regulations dictate that in Missouri. But
But these
yeah, I would be
wineries
disappointed too.
are literally, right, from last time to this time, we're driving 5 minutes in this direction, 5 minutes in that direction. It's like, there's enough Starbucks. We don't need another Starbucks on another corner. Why would you buy 3 of them? You're only spreading out your people. That's what I don't.
I mean, who knows? Uh, Who knows? I think that the things he's describing as updates are consistent with
Being
someone owning
disappointed.
3 of them and not
Well,
caring
that
as
is
much. Like
true.
the Balducci family gave a crap. I almost said a bad word. I don't know what I'm allowed to do on your show. Um, gave
Yes.
gave a hoot about the experience and the pizza.
Mhm.
And there were many generations of Balducci's dedicated to this. And they'd been voted 15 years in a row as the best winery. So um, that I'm sure the vibe is going to change when someone who
Yeah.
this is just one of
Takes
the
over.
wineries they
What,
own
right,
takes over.
right.
And I appreciate that Dan's warning people, and it's very specific.
Mhm.
That's a useful one-star review in my book.
I agree. But I'm happy. Plus,
They responded.
they responded.
Okay. What'd they say?
Thank you for taking the time to share your feedback. We still have the same friendly staff, great pizzas, and hundreds of trees on the property. Wine tasting is an experience that everyone should try when visiting Balducci for the first time. Just the first time. You don't have to do it
Yeah.
ever
After that, just come have some pizza, right? Play some bocce,
Yeah.
listen to some live music, stare at our ugly paint job.
Yeah. Once you have selected your favorite Balducci wine, it can be purchased by the glass or a bottle. We also offer delicious wine slushies made with our Rosso wine. Thank you again, and hopefully someday you will give us another try and our 5 stars back.
Interesting. So that is a great response. I mean, it doesn't talk, they're like, they take the high road. They don't talk about the paint job,
Right. Yeah.
which is totally subjective. And they're saying like your complaint is how much it costs for the tasting, but you don't have to take a tasting. This is a
Right.
place to hang out,
Right.
eat pizza, and drink the wine you like. It shouldn't affect you. Oops, sorry,
Right.
Dan. It shouldn't affect you. You're a regular. It shouldn't
Yeah,
matter
Dan,
that new people are paying.
every wine I make,
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, that is such a good response. That has completely changed my perspective on it.
Yeah. I
Because
do
you know what
though
they did? They
disagree.
highlighted. Yeah.
I do disagree that a wine tasting should only be done the first time, because
That's because you own a
wines are,
wine tasting
well,
room.
no,
You own a winery.
but the wines change. The
They
wines
do.
change, right? Even if you only make, let's say you only make two wines, you make your white and your red, let's say. Next year, it's a different white and a different red. It's going to
No,
taste.
I agree, but this place, Balducci, sounds like a destination. It sounds like it's actually like a venue.
Yes.
And they want repeat visits from people who live nearby. So, typically if I'm going to a winery, yes, every time I go to, let's talk about some of my favorites, Peju in
Oh, okay.
Napa, or I go to Rombauer in Napa, or I go to Duckhorn, right? Or any of those places, I I taste again,
Right.
right? Because but I also don't get there very much. But if when I used to live in Walnut Creek and I get to Napa a lot more, we would just go
Go.
to those places and buy a bottle and sit on the grounds,
Right.
right?
Right.
So in that sense, like if you're a frequent visitor, you don't have to, Dan does not have to
Right.
pay that
Right.
much to try them
You
again
do
and
not need
again.
to taste every other week. Absolutely.
Yeah. And I
Absolutely.
do think they're doing a good job of bringing our attention to that one complaint
Hmm.
and also highlighting we're the same Balducci's we've always been
Right.
without kind of getting into the, so that's
With,
actually, it's like,
without getting into the weeds.
it's judo, right?
Nice. All right.
So
So the
anyway,
question is, who are we going with?
oh
Customer
yeah, we
or
have to
winery?
vote. I
Customer
would
or winery.
say I'm going with winery.
All
I was
right.
customer first,
You were
remember, but
customer. Yeah.
just goes to show your theory with why you have to respond
Bond. Yep.
to the reviews.
And I'm really kind of split on this one, because I do think, with the exception of his comment about the hideous color, um, I get it. I I I think he is informing people this has changed.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
that's true.
so I can see it on his end. As for the tree, I don't know, maybe the tree fell down, Dan. It's an old tree. Maybe it was a hazard. Maybe something happened, which, they apparently have hundreds of other trees, so they're not just bulldozing everything. So I'm kind of split on this one.
You're
think
50-50.
I'm 50-50 on this one. I love their response, because I agree. I
Yeah.
think that they answered why things happened, and hey, yeah, it is purchased, but it's still the same people.
Yeah. I mean, I think that let's imagine a scenario where Dan and his wife went. They've been going there for years. It's the best pizza ever. Dan and his wife, because they don't know any better, pay for a tasting
They
every
say,
time, right? So when they show up one day at their favorite, there's a tree that's been cut down. They're like,
yeah,
"Why'd you cut down that tree?" And they're like, "Oh, because it was like putting these those little pod things were landing
right.
on the roof, and
Landing in the
it was a lot of
glasses.
pain." Yeah. Or even like just it was a pain for us to sweep up, so we just got rid of that tree. And then his wife is like, "Oh, I hate that color," and so they leave, and they've now been subject to change that they have no control
Roll
over.
over. Mhm.
And I'm gonna write a review.
Yeah. But I will say, I don't feel that Dan was two thumbs. Da, 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 da.
No, no,
I
no.
think I
But he's
give
like,
Dan
yeah,
power. Yeah. I like
yeah.
I'm with you, Dan.
You're
I'm
still
okay.
50. Oh, are you
I'm
customer now?
no, no, I'm gonna be 50-50, because I like them both. Yeah,
Yes.
I like them both. Now the next one, and my God, I hope this is just a pun that this person thinks is funny, because if it's her real name, I really, really, really feel sorry for her.
Probably not a real name.
Yeah, Rita Margarita.
I'm sure it's not her real. Well, it could be though. Actually, Rita Margarita could be someone's name.
Could be.
I
But
bet she's fun.
I'm going to say probably yes, yes. All right, so let's see what she thinks. We traveled many miles just to experience this establishment. We ordered a pizza, and it was given away to another customer. Instead of pushing our redo to the front of the line, we were made to wait 50 minutes more for our food, completely uncalled for. They finally saw the light and agreed to give us a complimentary drinks and a refund. No customer should have to endure this. People with the fancy cars and designer accessories obviously take precedence here. This whole buy out in Augusta is off to a rough start.
You know how when there's the thing behind the thing,
Yeah,
I think Rita is
it's
dealing
not so
with some
fun.
stuff. Well, yeah, I think she's like, listen, Rita's thinking that fancy people are coming around and it's making her feel insecure. And so now instead of just being an error, by the way, they comped their food and gave them drinks as compensation for how upset she was by the situation.
And that to me is a 5-star review.
And now, a word from our sponsor. Exploring the Wine Glass is brought to you by Dracaena Wines. Dracaena Wines is an artisan winery located in Paso Robles, California. They have been producing wine since 2013. Their first vintage began with one wine, their classic Cabernet Franc, which received a 91 in Wine Enthusiast. Since then, they have increased production as well as expanded their portfolio, have received many accolades including multiple double gold medals and consistent 90-plus ratings. Visit their website www.dracaenawines.com or use the link in the show notes to schedule a private tasting and to see their entire portfolio. Purchase your award-winning wine and let Dracaena Wines help turn your moments into great memories.
Well, yeah, I'd be like, hey, this was disappointing. Yeah.
But this is how they did it. That's 5-star. So I'm going to give them, in the thing, I'm going to give them a 3-star review because they messed up the pizza and concept, but I'm going to give them a 5-star review for how they handled the situation. Right?
Well, and my whole thing with the messed up the pizza, have you never made a mistake at work, Rita? Have you never made a mistake?
Right.
Like
And
that there's no tolerance for mistake. And by the way, it's pizza. It's food. It's not even like a surgeon. It's pizza. Someone made a mistake and gave the pizza to the wrong person. And then for whatever reason, they didn't recognize how serious it was right away. But eventually they did. And they comped their dinner and gave them free drinks.
Yep.
I think Rita's really upset about
the fancy bags and cars.
Yeah. And the fancy people coming to town. And so she could have said, we've been regulars a long time. And in fact, they do a good job. When they mess up, we recently had a situation and they made it right, that very night. But the vibe is changing because people from out of town are coming, fancy people, fancy cars. And it's just not the same place it was when the Balducci family owned it.
Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
Then you don't have to reveal like your inner insecurities to the entire internet. That somehow you feel less than about these people
that you
with their
can't
fancy
buy that
things.
that fancy car or fancy accessories.
Or it makes you feel insecure when you think people are judging you. Like, oh, Rita.
Yes.
Go to therapy.
Yeah. All right. They replied.
They did. Oh, yay.
Yeah. So right now, are you customer or winery?
I'm winery.
Absolutely.
I'm winery because I think, again, it's pizza.
Right. And they took care of it. You didn't even pay for it.
You can't forgive enough to drop it.
Right.
Yeah.
And the response, Rita, we apologize again.
We remember you, Rita. Remember how upset you were by this thing where we gave your pizza to the wrong person and then you had to wait 50 minutes
while we gave you free drinks.
Everybody knows because it was on the comp list that week and everyone was reminded if Rita comes in, give her some more free drinks because she's really mad about this thing that happened last Saturday during the rush.
Yes. So we apologize again about the mix-up with your order. As you stated, we did refund you and give you free drinks. Unfortunately, the deep dish pizza actually takes 45 minutes to cook.
Oh, it did. They didn't put her at the end of the line. It just takes that long to cook it, Rita.
And you were the first one in.
We
It
did
just
put you at the
takes-
front of the line, Rita.
It just takes that long to cook.
Now I want deep dish pizza. That's what I want for
yummy,
dinner
yum,
now.
yum, yum.
Are you also winery?
Am I what? Oh, well,
Are you
absolutely
voting
pro
winery?
winery. Absolutely pro winery. I was pro winery before the response, but
Yeah, but the
after the
response just
response,
reveals so much. This is why the response is so important. If you learn nothing else from this podcast, if you own a business,
be
always
sure to
respond,
respond.
even if it's just being
Good,
apologetic.
yeah, good
It
or
changes
bad.
everything.
Good or
Yes.
bad. I respond to every review
Yeah.
I get, good or bad, because if it's a good review, you want to thank them for taking the time out to promote you. And if it's
Yeah.
bad, you have to do your explanation of that it takes 45 minutes to make a darn deep dish pizza.
Deep dish pizza. It sounds delicious, winery.
Yeah, we're all with you,
Balducci's.
Balducci.
Listen,
Yes.
if the pizza's still that good there, then they really have kept everyone in place. It's just the poor Balducci's, they wanted to retire. They're tired. I'm sure running a running a winery is not very different than my family owned a deli, and they couldn't go anywhere. They
Right.
couldn't travel for holidays. Like it was constant. They were working 12-hour days. You know, you get to the end of the run and you're tired.
Like, I just want to get out. And if somebody's going to buy me out, I'm out of there. But it does. You're right.
Yeah.
It sounds like they're keeping everything up, above par.
Except that
So-
tree and the
Except-
paint
yes,
job.
Yes. Yeah. We'll give you the paint job. I don't know what color they painted it, but we'll give you the paint
I'm
job.
dying to go on the internet and try to
Let's
see.
see it.
You know?
All right. This one is very long.
Oh, okay.
And
I'm ready.
I had to do some research to understand
Oh.
it.
Oh, I love it.
Okay. And it's even funnier because it's from 4 years ago.
Okay.
And it pretty much is anti-Donald Trump. So it is now relevant again. Again.
So for a while, people are like, oh gosh, this is bad. This is like pandemic era
Right.
review. And now we're like, oh,
Oh, right.
the
So-
times they aren't to changing.
Or they just keep on repeating.
So, but we're going to stay apolitical on our own side, right?
We are
But-
going to stay
yes.
apolitical. But so to show you how apolitical I am, I needed to Google what this person was talking about. 'Cause
Yeah.
I did not
Yeah, yeah.
understand. So yesterday, this is John H., by the way. Okay. So yesterday was a lovely day for the wineries. Balducci has always been one of my favorites. So I pulled in with my date and we were shocked and appalled to see the largest Donald Trump flag I have ever seen.
At the winery?
At the winery. Okay. As we pulled closer, it was clear they were hosting some sort of Trump rally. There were dozens of cars and windows painted Women for Trump, Save Our Children, and one with a custom. Now, this is what I had to look up. Qanon 1, QANON 1.
Oh, I'll help you. That's called QAnon.
QAnon.
I don't actually, I've only read it. So maybe it is called Qanon, but I thought it was QAnon.
It makes
And
more
it's the
sense if
source-
it's QAnon.
It's a source of a bunch of conspiracy theories.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So on a custom license plate with that. Okay. So needless to say, after a few moments of gawking at the absurdity of the situation, we promptly turned around and went to another winery, which had a beautiful porch, immaculate views, great food, and importantly, was not packed with political extremists. I have always held Balducci's in high regard, but I am tremendously disappointed that they would host an event like this. Obviously, this is not the kind of environment in which I want to spend a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Moreover, it speaks to the beliefs, judgments, compassion, and character of the proprietors of this establishment. They will never, ever get another penny from me. And if you have a social conscience or believe our country can become a better place for all, I highly recommend you check out one of the other numerous wineries nearby. There are some great alternative options. If you're willing to unexpectedly show up at a Trump rally or similar event, then give this place a shot.
Okay.
It's a lot to digest.
I mean, I don't think that just because they allowed, and by the way, I doubt it was a rally.
There's a
right?
there's a response.
Okay, great. But if Balducci's permits, now I'm going to get contradicted maybe, but by the response. But here are my thoughts after just hearing the review. If Balducci permits people to host private events there, use it as a venue for private events, I would be kind of upset if they were telling people they could or couldn't do it there based on politics, because
which is also illegal.
yeah,
It's
like
discriminatory.
I think, yeah. So I feel like if someone was hosting some gathering there and they paid the event, they paid the catering, they paid the event fee, and then they asked if they could decorate, and Balducci was like, sure, and they decorated it for their event. That's normal. That's more normal event space practice. So,
but wouldn't,
yeah,
in my opinion, if that is what happened,
yeah,
prefacing what the response is, if that is what happened, then you have to close your facility to other people because it's a private event, or you have a facility that they're in a room and you close off that room. That's how.
and they
no
decorate
matter
that
what
room,
it is.
right? So what they're saying, this guy is saying that as we drove up, the whole property was festooned with
I like that word.
Trump pro-Trump stuff.
Yes.
And then he called it a rally.
Mm-hmm.
And then he actually saw a car that had a QAnon license plate. I mean, I guess, so here's what I would say. I want to hear the response. But if he feels like he's warning people, can you remember the time back when we didn't really know what people voted for?
Right. Yeah.
Like we didn't talk about it all the time.
Yeah. Yep. You voted whatever you wanted. Yep.
Yeah.
And nobody really knew.
Listen, and I'm not trying to indicate any kind of pro anything, but this idea that that things are so divisive.
Right. Well,
right?
I do think, there's rallies. There's always been rallies for presidents, right?
Yeah, and fundraisers, whatever.
There's been all of that. So if Balducci, I will say in today's world, you have to, as a business owner, you do have to be careful of what you allow happening, because exactly what John is saying is because they apparently were having all these Trump people, that they must be Trump supporters. And that's not necessarily the truth, but that is probably how people are going to see it, which just goes back to, if you're going to have a private event, then it's private, and nobody would have known that, that if you're pro or anti whatever is going on.
Yeah. Where I work, we are decidedly, and by the way, I'm in the nation's capital, right? We are decidedly apolitical. Like, we don't allow any kind of political fundraisers to be hosted at our club.
Right.
Because there are clubs that are Republican and clubs that are Democrat all over the city. And it's really easy in DC to get pigeonholed as one or the other.
Right.
And, we don't do any of that. We're definitely about wine only.
Right.
So, which we think, transcends these things, which are just temporal right now. So I would not have allowed someone to do that in my business in this political climate.
Right.
But we don't know if it actually indicates I wouldn't let either side do it at our business.
Right.
Right. It's not an indicator at all of my own political leanings or the owners. It's about not setting things up like you're choosing a side, and then now this is a place where only they go.
Only
Kind of like
that
bars
side.
that are like Patriots bars and bars that are
Right.
Steelers bars. Like
Right.
once you get it, then you're the Steelers bar, and that's what people who are against the Steelers
Steelers
aren't
aren't
going
going
to
to go
come
in.
to your
Right.
bar, right?
Right. Yep.
But on a bigger scale.
Right.
Okay, I'm dying to hear their
Okay.
response. I can't choose sides right now because I need more information.
Hi, John. In response to this review, we have never, all capitals, nor will we ever, all capitals, host any political rallies at our winery. We had nothing, all capitals, to do with that. I wish that you could have taken the time to ask or take time to ask to talk with either my husband or myself on Saturday, as we were both there working, to state your opinion and gather the correct information before posting this review. Now, where that other review or response made you and I feel better for the winery than the consumer, this response flips me the other way, because she's saying, or she's saying, never, ever, nothing, but knows exactly what day it is. And
so we don't know what happened. Like did people, okay, it's a winery. Did a caravan of Trump lovers pull into the parking lot with their cars all decorated, and he interpreted that as the place was decorated? And
but
so
he said
now
there
he's
was
written
a
this
very large sign, larger than he's ever seen. That's something that somebody.
Did you do research to find out if this had really the
No,
research?
I
Oh,
did.
the research was about QAnon. I'm
Yeah.
dying to know more, because I think if they had really hosted a rally there, they would have said, listen, our policy is that anyone can host a rally here as a private event. Like, that they're saying this didn't happen. I wish you would have come
Right.
up. Like, we don't know that there was really a big sign on the property. It could have been a big sign on somebody's tractor trailer. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. That is true. But it gets better.
Oh, no. You didn't read me the whole thing?
No, I did.
Oh.
He responded to their response.
Oh, okay.
I'm willing to accept that this event was not officially sanctioned by your establishment. However, the moment that giant banner flag, which I could see the moment I turned in, went up, and you did not ask them to take it down, you endorsed this situation. It is unreasonable to expect me to find parking, get out, find the owners, and express my opinion to you, especially when, by all indications, the gathering was supported and I had no way of knowing how my opinion would be received. I was trying to have a peaceful, relaxing afternoon with my date, not debate politics with QAnon conspiracy theorists.
I mean,
I am pro
agree
John
with him
on this one.
I don't think he had to go find them. I think that's an unreasonable expectation. But I am on his side, and I'm glad he responded. But I wonder what the truth is.
Right.
Like,
and she did not reply. That she did not. My feeling about this is that a group of people who were pro-Trump decided to go have a wine tasting day, and they
at
all
a place
went
that we
out.
know is a big venue with bocce and live music and pizza.
Right.
Right.
And they just all had Trump, their political views on their cars and license plates and all of that stuff. And somebody put up a flag. There had to have been this banner put up somewhere. At that point, I would have gone, as an owner, I would have gone to them and said, listen, you have a right to your political views, and we are happy to serve you. And that sign's got to come down. That banner, the banner has to come down, because I think once that banner is up, I am agreeing with you. Whether I agree with you or not, as a business person,
Yeah.
I'm not putting that out there.
Yeah. And what I think is that we don't know that that's not exactly what happened.
Right.
And maybe he came up while it was up there, and then someone came in and said, "You know, there's a big Trump banner by the entrance," and they were like, "Oh my gosh!" And it was up for 20 minutes,
Right.
or
But
30 minutes, or 5 minutes.
I think that she could have done a better explanation and say, yes, like, we had nothing to do with that, but you did because you allowed it to happen.
So I guess I would say we don't know that they allowed it to happen, but it would be perhaps business suicide to write on a public forum that you told people to take down their Trump banner
Oh, okay.
in this climate.
Oh, okay. All right.
You know what I
So you're
mean?
seeing it from a different angle. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Because then
just
we have the
because,
right to do but I have the right to kick you out of my winery.
sure, of course.
And then
I
I'll
just
get a lot
feel
of
like
one
we
star
don't
reviews.
know. And she's basically saying, before you go and tell everybody that we're Trump supporters and that this is what you did, I wish you would have talked to me, because we never allow that kind of stuff. I think she is expecting a lot to think that he would come and basically go into enemy territory, right? To find out.
Right.
But I also feel like, as a business owner, she's kind of in a weird position. She
I'll
wants
give
to
you
say,
that.
hey, we don't allow this, we don't endorse this, but to say, we told those Trumpers to take down their flag. Like, I just think I would
Yeah.
take a really measured approach too. That's all. I'm dying to find out, call them and say, what happened? I'll be like, oh my gosh, one day we were here and we're having a good time, and 25 QAnon people showed up at our place. And then, like,
Yeah.
because I think if she was a proud Trump supporter, or that they did endorse it, she would like lean on freedom of speech, and
Right.
we all have the
True.
right,
Yeah.
Like, I think that is like the safest way for her to say, absolutely not, we did not, without taking a side. That's all I thought.
Yeah. Well, he did
You know,
continue to say, basically what you're saying is, I'm not going to I went to go enjoy wine. I'm
no,
not,
right.
I not going to go in where I'm already feeling uncomfortable and expecting to be unwelcomed. So I left, which,
Yeah. I mean, he had every right to. And I also think that this is a useful back and forth, and this is what the platform should offer.
should be.
And,
Yes.
yeah. And I also feel like, this is why you don't let people do it.
Right.
This is why you turn them all down.
You are opening yourself up to,
right? You just turn them all down, because right now we're like 50-50, and it's super, divisive. And unless you're wanting to be in politics, or you feel compelled by your own politics to like host things, then it's better to just not be doing it.
Right. I agree. And so, like, non-political wise, like, I have people who come into the tasting room and say, your wine is really great. It's the best wine I've had. But you've got to change your label.
Why?
And I say, because we have our dog on it. And I say to them, well, thank you for the compliment that this is the best wine and you really enjoy it. However, that's my dog and it's my winery. So the dog stays.
Why would someone think a dog on a wine label? Some of the best wine labels have dogs on them.
Yeah, they do. It's the critter thing. It's the critter thing, but
that's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, how I feel about like animals in restaurants. Yeah. We already had that conversation. Like, I'm not super like pro animals everywhere, but I would drink a wine with the dog on it.
Yeah. I would drink a wine if it's a good wine. It doesn't matter what.
I mean, I wouldn't be like, oh, it's such a good wine, but the label has a dog. That's so weird.
Yeah. But people have opinions, and but it's my winery. I can do what I want to do. So if this person didn't, say no, sadly, she's saying yes.
But she's saying they never had a rally there.
Yeah, but that I'm not. I have
think
to
if she
believe
were
there's
pro-Trump, she would have said, We have host all sorts of things here. Like, I don't know,
Mhm.
you know,
Yeah. I don't know. Well,
but
I'm done with politics.
all right, I'm on the side of the winery.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm 50-50 because he's totally
Okay.
in the right. But I also feel like, man, that's an unfortunate situation.
Yeah. I'm
So,
going with him. So we're actually
okay.
kind of tied because I was split on that first one. And then, yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say my family is from a vacation town, a vacation lake town that's really popular with motorcyclists. Like, and
Mm,
it's grown into a massive, it's not Sturbridge, but it's another kind of place where now it's turned into what was used to be a little bit is like they take over the whole
right.
area every year for the same weekend, and the place is packed with Harleys and
Right.
people and drunks, and I mean people partying, fights and all that kind of stuff. And so I've been at a business when like 60 motorcycles pull up and decide this is where they're all going to stop.
Right.
And you're like grateful for the business. At the same time, you're like, oh my gosh, people are not going to come here right now because there's 60 motorcycles.
Motorcycles. Right.
Right.
Mm.
And so that's what I'm thinking about this. Like I just imagine you're just minding your own business, slinging deep dish pizza. And then these people start walking in. You're like, oh,
Oh,
look at those 5 people in those t-shirts. And then the next 5 people
right.
come in. And then
Right.
you go
And
out and you're like, oh my gosh, look at all those cars. Oh my gosh. And then someone comes in and says, do you know there's a flag
right.
out there on the lawn by the road? And you'd be like, oh my gosh, now
Right.
what are we gonna do? Like, I don't want to. Like, and you try to figure out
Right.
who's the leader. Who, like, I have a lot of empathy for the small business owner who's like, didn't invite
Stuck
this and
between a rock and a hard place.
yeah, like how do you do it? I guess, are we ready to risk them all leaving? Yeah, we are. Are we ready to risk a First Amendment fight on our property? Like, it's a lot,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
that's all. That's why I'm
Okay.
like, oh, the poor winery owners, since they came out and said we absolutely didn't.
Right.
But then,
Yeah.
so
All right.
that's all.
Well, let's be done talking politics.
Yes, we're done.
We're going to go 8 minutes down the road to Montel Winery. And
Until
this is at 201 Montel Drive. So they were really creative with the name. Um,
chicken
and
and the egg. Was it
yeah.
Montel Winery and then the road was named?
Right. Um, and this is a little different. Normally we have very high rated wineries, and then there's just a few of the 1 stars.
Yeah.
Not so much with this one.
Oh, are there lots
This,
of bad
there
1 stars?
were lots. There were, in fact, more 1 star than 5 star.
Oh,
And their average is 3.3.
oh yikes.
Yeah. So they're all very, very well. No, there's one that's longer, but they're kind of just quick and to the point. Here we go. So Derek, removing all of the trees was incredible, awful decision. Unbearably hot, and the natural beauty is gone.
That
Go,
must be going
Derek.
on around there,
Yeah,
that town. They're just removing trees. I wonder
yeah.
if there's like some kind of like um infestation problem,
Right, right.
right?
Yeah. Now, just for that, I'm going with Derek.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. No
Yeah.
response from the winery to explain why. It's hot in Missouri.
Yeah. No
You got
shade.
no sun. No, I mean no shade, and now no view.
And they used to have trees, now they don't have trees. So,
Right.
yes.
I'm pro Derek on this one. Judy D. We showed up at 4:50 p.m. and they literally turned their sign from open to close with us standing in front of the door.
Oh, it's supposed to be closing at 5.
5.
Okay.
I'm
So,
gonna make that jump. I'm gonna make that jump that they were closing
I
at
mean,
5.
I have to side with her on that, but
Uh-huh.
it's the worst. It's the worst when you're about to close and you've already
Yeah,
done all the things, and
yeah.
then some
Somebody comes in.
people roll up at 10 till.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I agree.
And the thing is, you could, when they come in, you could say, Oh, I'm so glad you're here now. We are closing in 10 minutes, but we're happy to pour you a splash. Like you can do something, but then they go and they say, "We came at 10 to 5 and they told us they were closing." Like you're really
Right.
in a no-win situation.
Right. But I mean, seriously, just flipping the sign and not saying anything.
I know, of
Granted,
course.
maybe they did say something, but Judy didn't feel that was
But
part of the
still,
review.
I mean,
But
it deserves a 1 star.
yeah,
Oh my
yeah,
gosh. Because 5 o'clock is when a lot of things close.
right.
A lot of tasting rooms close at
Mhm.
5.
And
Oh
I
man.
will tell
I
you
mean,
up
could have been a
front,
dozen bachelorettes. Like, who knows?
right, right, because it does say we, right.
Yes,
But yeah, you've got to say something, so,
you do.
sometimes I'm like, I'll say, well, you know what, we're kind of closing. If you'd like a splash to take a bottle to go, I can give you
Yeah.
that, but I'm not doing any more tastings and we're not doing by the glass anymore. I'm sorry, do that,
Yeah.
you know, because actually it happened yesterday. I had the closed sign up yesterday,
Yes.
and first somebody with a dog came in, and I of course forget that we're closed because there's a dog. So I'm playing
Right.
with the dog, and then they order mocktails. Um, and
Right.
then once they were there, they were sitting there enjoying themselves, and then another couple came in because there was a couple there, and they're like, "Oh," I'm like, "Well, I'm closed." Like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Do you want a glass of something?" And
Yes.
they're like,
Yeah. I
"Yes."
have to
So I
say for
poured
these
them.
people anyway.
Right, right. So, you know, there's things you can do, right?
Yes. You
Just
don't have
putting
to
the
leave
sign
Judy out
over,
in the cold.
putting the sign over is pretty funny though.
I mean, you see him in
Yeah.
the parking lot, you're like, "Oh my gosh, we don't have to stay for 2 hours for these people.
Right.
Quick, turn the sign
Side,
around."
turn the side before they get in because that means they can't come in.
Oh my gosh.
So I, you know, it's another split because they're showing up 10 minutes before they're closing. So in that side, I get the winery, but then just turning the sign over, I got to go with Judy.
Yeah. I would, because really what I would say is like, "Oh my gosh, hi. We can't do any tastings right now, but you can order a glass. We're closing at 5 and everyone has to be out by 5:15." Like
Right.
whatever. That's what
Right.
I would
You
say.
give them that boundary.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yep.
for
All
sure.
right. Okay. A little bit longer from Joe L.
Oh,
So
I didn't
actually
keep
it's,
well, this is a speed round, so I'm not keeping
yeah,
score.
yeah,
Okay,
these are speed rounds.
great.
So this is Joe L. We've gone to Montel's many times. It has been our favorite winery because of the views and the food. Unfortunately, the new owners of this winery cut down all the trees that were part of the shade canopy on the decks, and also cut the trees down at the back of the property that provided not only a unique view of the surrounding area, but also very valuable shade for a bright, sunny summer day. That damage has been done, and this place could still be a gem, but the new owners can't figure out how to equip each table with a useful umbrella that can tilt to filter the blazing rays out of the sun. On a hot day in the sun, you will feel like you are in the desert. I used to love the pizzas here. I'm not sure, but they seem not as good anymore. The wine is just as bad as it's always been. But now it's not as cold coming out of the cooler. The Italian there are numerous ways to say, in Italian, there are numerous ways to say goodbye. Addio is the form used when you're not coming back. So, addio, Montel.
So, okay, I wonder if Montel is one of the 3
I
wineries that
think
that
so.
group bought. They need to bring the pizza people from Balducci's over to teach them how to make the pizza. But,
But again, a
one of these
tree. Again, with the trees being cut down.
right. Well, here's the thing. The pizza's not gonna taste as good if you're sitting in the sun.
So, no.
And that wine is gonna not taste cold enough if you're sitting in the sun. Um, I just a little side note. I've never known a bunch of wineries to have pizza. That must be like a Missouri
Okay.
thing.
Yeah.
Like sometimes they have pizza, but the ones right down the road have pizza. The
Yeah.
Balducci's, it made sense, but
Right.
Montel also serves pizza,
Yeah.
and that's
I
what they're
think
known
it's all
for.
this. I think it's the same. I
Yeah.
think somebody
I
bought.
wonder if
Yeah.
Balducci's used to, well, yeah,
No,
Okay.
we have quite a few wineries who have
That serve
brick
pizza?
oven pizzas. Yeah, in fact, we
Oh.
have a uh, guy who has a mobile brick oven pizza. And like on Mondays, he's at this winery. At Tuesdays, he's at this winery.
Oh.
Wednesday, yeah.
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 So I guess it is common.
Yeah. But I thought the funniest thing in this was the wine is just as bad as Zoe's.
We used to come just for the pizza. Now that's mediocre and
Yeah,
it's hot
right.
as hell over here. Why would we even come? Goodbye forever.
Yes, yes,
Yeah, I don't blame him. And by the way, he's giving a warning to other people who used to go there.
yes.
Like all the
I see
trees are gone.
absolutely nothing wrong with this review. I,
No, me either.
I'm good with Joe.
Yep.
Again,
And
talking
he's
about
honest. The
he's
pizza
honest,
was
yes.
always bad. I mean, the wine was
The
always
wine was always
bad
bad, but we went. We went all the time because
because it was
beautiful
beautiful.
views and pizza. And now, no, I'm
Yeah.
all with him. I'm all with him. All right, Courtney B. I have been coming to Montel for at least a decade, and it used to be my favorite Missouri winery. The decision to cut down every tree at the winery was a huge mistake. Completely changes the ambiance in a terrible way. Good luck having people here in Missouri summer, much less a nice day in October. Very misguided decision.
I wonder why they cut down all the trees.
I don't know. I don't know. But it obviously is
It's a
true.
thing.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
true. Yeah. Um, and then we just have a couple of more. We've got Tyler G. Since the Hoffman family, calling them out, took over ownership, this winery has gone vastly downhill. Bottle prices have skyrocketed. They've cut down all the trees. I went on a summer day with a higher temperature and they refused to turn on the fan because it was pretty old and we don't want to waste this unless it's for the band.
Oh my gosh.
And then the best thing ever, I would give them 0 stars if I could.
So I wonder if the Hoffman family are the ones who bought all three wineries.
Yeah. It kind of seems to be a trend of cutting down trees. Yes. And then we're going to end with Alyssa, just because I think she was pretty funny. She's like, we spent a considerable amount of money at the winery yesterday. Spent several hours there. I'll start there. That is where you started. That was your
Yes.
very first sentence.
Thank you for telling us what you're going to tell us.
After it rained and became kind of gross out, virtually every patron left. Plus, it was getting close to dinner, except the two of us. My friend was in from out of town, and this was one of her favorite wineries before she moved out of state. Not one single patron there besides us. Not one. Stu, the manager, was pulling around a landscaping cart nearby. We were standing by the railing, fumbling with our camera, trying to take a selfie with the view, harder than it seems. And perhaps we dropped an explicitive trying to get it right. Sue comes out from behind the bushes. Yes, that's how ridiculous this story is. You girls better watch your mouths. She went on and on and on, which I just she goes into talking about her Uber. We called our ride, and while we were waiting, we were approached by another employee there and said that patrons consistently complain about Sue, the manager, and the owners have asked that they be notified every time there's an instance between Sue and the patrons. That's crazy. Unfortunately, one bad apple has indeed ruined the bunch for us, and we will not be returning.
Oh, Montel. Montel is about to lose everything.
Yeah. No trees. Can't say shit.
I know. So here's the thing about, I mean, you know this too, right? We used to joke when I was in the wine business that, the joke was, do you know how to make a small fortune in the wine business? Start with a large fortune.
Yes.
So these guys snatching up some local wineries and then mismanaging them
and
It's just
gonna
speeding
run
that
them into the
process
ground.
up.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Because you're lucky, and you know this, you're lucky in wine to even stay open,
Mhm.
to be able to
Yep.
sustain it,
Yeah.
if not make an actual profit. So amazing. And I'm just so curious. Gosh, I wish, I am not going to hang up and then go Google the Hoffman family, but I'm just so curious what led to
To
this,
this.
what
Yeah.
led to them acquiring these.
They're
And
anti-tree. That's what they are.
yeah, they're
It
anti-tree,
wasn't a Trump. It
potentially
wasn't a
pro-Trump.
Trumpy. Yeah, it wasn't a Trump rally. It was cut the tree down rally.
Yeah,
It said
it was a
tree.
QAnon
It
rally
said
because
tree, not Trump.
yeah, they thought that the trees were, doing something. Cut down all the trees.
Yeah. Oh, I
I
don't
can't
know.
imagine.
Well,
So fun.
I think that today we were, for the most part, pro-consumer.
Yeah, we are. Listen,
Yeah.
even in the speed round, I think we are 100% pro-consumer for
Yes.
everyone at Montel. I was pro winery, and then 50-50 out of the three. So 2 pro wineries, 1 50-50. And then you were 50-50, 1 winery, 1 customer. And then we were all customer for the speed round, both of us. So yeah, this is often we are pro winery.
Yes.
So listen, we are not biased. That's what we're demonstrating.
We are trying to show
If it's ridiculous enough, we are totally able to change our point of view.
So where do you think we should go next? What region should we dabble into?
We haven't done like the biggies. Like we haven't done Napa, Sonoma. We haven't done Paso. We haven't done your area.
We have not done Paso. I don't know if I want to do. I can probably do Paso.
We haven't done Santa Barbara.
Ooh, Santa Barbara would be a fun one. Santa Barbara, Los Olivos.
Yeah.
Solvang. There's quite a few down there.
Yeah.
We did do the Temecula. Yeah. So maybe we'll do Santa Barbara next time. We will move to Santa Barbara.
Go back to California. And because the thing is, I can't actually imagine the wine.
A 1-star review at Santa Barbara Winery?
No, I can't imagine the environment in Missouri, so I can't picture it like I can picture Temecula.
Oh, okay.
So like I'm imagining, like even trying to picture the trees, right?
Right.
It's like such a different kind of place that it's a little harder. I would have an easier time kind of imagining the Santa Barbara situation for sure.
All right. Santa Barbara it is. We will go to Santa Barbara. So, Martha, you want to just give a little cap? You did talk about the pod a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
You want to give a little bit of who you are?
Yeah, that was just to share, because I'm not an influencer, but to share where I may have interacted with people around those kinds of things. So I have a comedy podcast called My Aloof Vagina, which is about the unexpected symptoms that women deal with in perimenopause, the things that surprised me and surprised my friends. And so there are conversations with people about just all the things that happen that we just didn't know were going to happen.
Fantastic. And if you're listening, you probably know who I am, but I have some other series in the Explore the Wine Glass. One is called Winefabet Street, where we take the next letter of the alphabet every month and dive into a grape variety or a region and do a deep dive educational aspect into that. We have run into a little technical difficulty with W, so it's been a while since we've done W, or that we should have done W, but it's coming. I promise it's coming. So, and of course, Allure of the Poor, where I sit down with other winemakers and geek out. So thank you, everybody, for joining 1-Star Reviews, and we will see you again soon. Sláinte.
Irish coffee.
This has been another episode of Exploring the Wine Glass. Thanks for listening. If you have suggestions on what topics you would like me to discuss, please reach out on social media. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook as Exploring the Wine Glass. I am also on LinkedIn as Lori Hoyt Budd. Of course, you can always email me at exploringthewineglass@gmail.com and sign up for my newsletter at exploringthewineglass.com. If you enjoyed what you heard, please rate, review, and subscribe to help others find me more easily. And most importantly, tell your wine-loving friends, because if you like the podcast, they will too. Podcast music is Wine by Kevins. Until next week, slancha.
There's always time for a good glass of wine. No, no, no. Oh, no, no, no. Never let you go. Oh, oh. No, no, no. Never let you go. Oh, oh. I want a nice glass right now.